श्रीगुरुभ्यो गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु गुरुदेव महेश्वर गुरुदेव सर्वं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विशेषभवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां त्रयदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्ये सर्वदा। गजाननं भूतगणासेवितं कपित्तजं भगवतारभक्षितं मासुतं शोकविनाशकारणं नमामि विघ्नेश्वरपादपङ्कजं। शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शिवनं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् विघ्नोपशान्ते। व्यासं वष्टनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मवन्दे युगदातं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे। नमो वै ब्रह्मणदे वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। So last time we were looking at Sanjaya coming to Upaplavya and with Dhritarashtra's message after Panchala priest went to Hastinapura and he told Dhritarashtra that Pandavas looking to get their kingdom back. So at that time, so Dhritarashtra sent Sanjaya back to Upaplavya, and Yudhistira and Sanjaya inquire about each other's welfare and all the families and everything. And then Yudhishthira addresses Sanjaya and he asks him, so we are all here, Pandavas, the Srinjayas, Krishna, Yudhana, Virata, everybody is here assembled. So tell us what message from Dhritarashtra is. Tell us all about it. And Sanjaya then says that repeats the words of what Dhritarashtra has told him. So whatever up to now he has told is his own words, inquiring about everyone's welfare and things like that. Now he starts about Dhritarashtra's message, which he says that I ask about Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula Sahadeva, Krishna, Satyaki, Drishtadyumna, Drupada, and Virata, and all the other kings that assembled there, all the other warriors assembled there. I inquire about all of them. I greet all of them, and let Yudhishthira and his brothers, everybody, they should accept peace. So let Yudhishthira accept peace, and Pandavas are always aligned to dharma. They always follow dharma, their steadiness, and they always control their mind. And they are from high family. They are very human, liberal. They always hate to do anything that brings shame to them. So they know what is good to do and when to do it. And it is the low act, the terrible act, that actions that bringing the troops together and preparing for war is not good. So if you commit to such a sinful act, it would hurt your fame. So you are already very famous. So Pandavas, you are already very famous. It would hurt your fame if you do start the war. And it is like on a white cloth pouring red colored uh, uh, paint or something like that, a dot on your stain on your white cloth. So he says that don't do that, because this war will bring the slaughter of entire universe. And so that's not good. So wherever you are, you always served your relatives' cause. So they are the true sons and friends and who actually lay down their life, even if required, for the Kurus, and you become one of them. You support Kurus and live like that. And so you also, uh, so here in the subsequent life after death, you will be, if all the Kurus and everybody is killed after defeating all your enemies, what would you do after that? If there is no relatives and everything, what would you do? So Yudhishthira gets that message from Dhritarashtra. Sanjay again continues that who is there who can face up to uh, uh, even if Indra comes himself with all his army and Gandharvas and everyone united together, who is there to face Krishna himself, Chekitana, Satyaki, Drishtadyumna, all these people. And also on the other side, on the Kuru side, Drona, Bhishma, Ashwatthama, Shalya, Kripa, Karna, all these warriors are there. And Dhritarashtra says, my own sons, they are there and vast with huge amount of force, uh, army together. So with all this, there is no victory. Either side cannot win anything. So how can Pandavas, like people who do not have any knowledge and things like that, like such a people uh, can commit this unrighteousness act. How can you do that? And I take refuge in you. I join with joining my hands. I ask Krishna, Arjuna, everybody to listen to my words and not take go not take arms, but instead follow peace process. So this is also agreed. Bhishma also agrees with the peace, and everybody confirmed that peace is the best for Pandavas as well as Kauravas. So then, listening to that, Yudhishthira says, "What is that peace means?" So you have heard that I never told about that I'm preparing for war or I'm going to attack Kurus and Kurus are my enemies or anything like that. I never said anything like that. Peace is always preferable to me, and even if a man who is wishes something, if he without doing anything, if somebody is going to get what he wishes, then why would he take the trouble of doing something? Here also, I all I'm asking is something. If I get that, why would I go and take this terrible act, do the take part in this war, right? Against my own relatives. Why would I do that? Against my own brothers and grandfather and everybody else, why would I do that? So he says that, but it is also those people who desire happiness, for them it is the happiness that comes by following dharma, that is good for them, and that's what they look for. That so the happiness which comes from following dharma is the one that's the real happiness, and the one that who follows his senses, desires, and such a person always ends up in misery. And the one who attaches with the pleasures and things like that, he always suffers. So he's not going to get that happiness that's desired. And the desire is like fire. If you keep pouring ghee into it, it keeps growing and getting brighter and brighter. So one should always control the desire. So, like that, here Yudhishthira says that compare all the things that Dhritarashtra has, and he uh, and what we have. Okay, so the one that has everything, and the unfortunate ones like us, we don't have anything, and the unfortunate ones always suffer, and this is why uh, when one is in trouble, nobody comes to their help. So if this is not the case, why would Kurus would do that? The king himself now thinks he's in trouble and he is seeking the protection of us. And this is not a great thing, because king should have done the right thing at the very beginning. When uh, when Duryodhana was doing all those wicked acts, nobody said anything. And Duryodhana discarded all the words that Vidura has said, the well wisher of Kurus. He has said everything and he discarded everything. And Dhritarashtra, purely looking after his son's wishes, he did follow the unrighteous, adharmic path. So he did the unrighteous things, and purely on fondness for his son, he did not listen to anything that Vidura said, who always wished for who always wished for best for the Kurus. So who is and that Vidura has clever, he's very clever, he's also vast learning, he's very clever in speech and very righteous in his actions. Dhritarashtra, for satisfying his son, uh, who that Duryodhana always seeks honors from others. He's envious. He's always angry. He transgresses uh, rules of wealth acquisition, and he speaks foul language and follows based on his anger. Whatever his anger, he can't control himself, and he's absorbed in the pleasures, sensual pleasures, and his unfriendly feelings, and obeys no law. Such a son he is having, and Dhritarashtra is always trying to satisfy that son's desires. So king knowingly abandoned his virtue and pleasure. So for that son, he abandoned everything, and the So that's why it is not right for the king to come now, and he always abstained the excellent words that Vidura has said. So that's why the king now, when he sees danger, he's asking us to follow the path of process of peace. So then there is Duryodhana, who is always supported by his counselors, Dushasana, Shakuni, Karna, all these people. So I do not see, Yudhishthira says, as I do not see, even though I think about it, the prosperity of Kurus and Pandavas together. Pandavas here says that Srinjaya, so that's Panchalas. So Panchalas actually leading the Pandava army. So that's why he says Kurus and Srinjayas, the war between Kurus and Srinjayas. It is not Kurus and Pandavas. Okay, so he says how Kurus and Srinjayas, when Dhritarashtra has taken such a steps, how can both together stay alive, stay together? And absolute peace between Kurus and Srinjayas is very difficult to attain. And it is known that Karna, Drona, Bhishma, everybody, all those very warriors, great warriors. And similarly, there is Arjuna, and nobody is equal to Arjuna. Even all of them together is not equal to Arjuna. So he says that Dhritarashtra, Arjuna, Duryodhana believes that he can rob Pandavas of the kingdom, and that's not going to happen. So if Dhritarashtra's sons are alive, they are simply because they have not heard Arjuna when he is angry. His Gandhi was sound, they have not heard when Arjuna is angry. That's why they are aware. But if the king Dhritarashtra still entertains that his son uh, will not die in the battle and they will survive and things like that, then that's what it is. So I will let that battle on that battlefield, then let all Pandu's sons die in that battle, if that's the case. And then finally, Yudhishthira concludes saying that, but because you have come here all the way, bringing this peace process, this as a messenger, giving a respect to you, I will forget everything that has happened. All the things that Duryodhana did and Dhritarashtra's other children did to us, I will forgive everything. So I will go for the peace. Let me have the Indraprastha back. Let me have my Indraprastha kingdom back. Then I will forgive everything. And then Sanjay at that time says that life is temporary. You live here today and one may not be there tomorrow. So it is temporary. What's one achieved in that lifetime is what that stays. So it is far better for you to beg, live on the grants that's given by uh, Yadavas, Krishna and others, and also Panchalas and others, or Virat or somebody who are friendly to you, living in with them and on their grant is better than the war. So he says that the war is it is this life is, this body is short, lives for a short period, and people blame it a lot when things go wrong. People blame it, and it's constant suffering, and it's very unstable, this body. So that's why people who are of good name should never try to look for committing a sinful act. So the desires, again, Sanjay repeats the same thing. Desires are the one that stop people from going from doing any dharma, following the dharmic life, so virtuous life. Therefore, one should always kill that desire before it stains his fame in this world. And he says that those who seek virtue, they do not attach to these kind of desires. They seek virtue alone. And when desires increases, man's virtue suffers. So a man should always, who is devoid, do not have any, who does not have the virtues, and that other make do not follow virtue, that person is ruined. That man is going to be ruined. He says that you have studied the Vedas and everything. You are equal to a Brahmana in your austerities and things like that. So you are devoted to all these things. So why you are doing this? So the one who is excessively links to the pleasures and joys of life and things like that, that person is exceedingly miserable. So don't commit to such acts. So don't go for desires of a kingdom and things like that. Live peacefully without committing any sinful act. And he says that contentment is the greatest thing. So one who is satisfied with whatever one has and always goes in the path of virtue, and that person is always uh, lives long and has a lot of fame. So the persons who are uh, whether it is good deed or evil deed or whatever it is, all that comes to useful in the next world, in the journeys that follows after this birth, it will come to there, and surely these all things carried. So that's why do the things that is not sinful. Take your actions so that it is not sinful. The actions done in this body always carries through. So it never ends, it carries through. So there in this that next world, which is free from death, discrepitude, old age, fear, hunger, and all those kind of things, in that way, that's where the delight comes, the happiness, true happiness comes. So that's why don't go for this terrible act of war. You may perform Rajasuya, Ashwamedha, or whatever that is, but it is not equal to come near the action which itself is a sin. Okay, if you do one sinful act, that destroys all the merit that's accumulated by all those great sacrifices. So if you do one such thing, it ends up in a great misery. That's why don't do this thing kind of thing. So he again says that this Krishna, Satyaki, Virata, Drupada, all these warriors, Arjuna, everybody, they may want to have war. If they really want, you to just don't take part in. You run away from them. You run away from that, making such terrible decisions, and live a life of uh, peaceful life. So he says that a wise and the unrighteous, a righteous man who is free from pride always fights the better instincts and do not fall away from prosperous path. So that's what is dharmic, what is the path of dharma. He follows that. He always does. Such a person controls his anger and never commits sinful actions, commits to sinful actions. So he says that anger is a bitter drug, and it has nothing to do with the disease, and it brings disease to its head and robs of one's of fame and things like that. So that's why one should always control anger and swallow it. Your anger, swallow it, and desist from going ahead with this war. So forbearance is again is most beneficial, uh, where you will not see Bhishma dead or Drona dead or Ashwatthama or Kripacharya or Somadatta, Vikarna, Vivingsati, Karna, Duryodhana, all these people dead. You don't see with those. If you control your anger and you have patience and things like that, then you will not see those things. Again, so he says that even if you have entire earth for you after win this war, and you will never be free from death, old age, all this kind of thing, pleasure, pain, happiness, pain, misery, everything. You will never be free because this body is like that. You will always have those things. Knowing all this, do not engage in the war. So all these counselors who are telling you that you should start war, give up everything, run away from them, and that is the virtuous path. So listening to this, Yudhishthira says that without doubt, whatever you said is true. Dharma is the foremost of all the actions. But listen to what I'm going to say. You should always also think about what is right, what is the dharma, what is adharma, what is wise, what is virtue. You should think about those things, because why dharma and adharma, it is both are eternal, and it is very difficult to differentiate between what is wise and what is virtue, what is dharma, what is adharma. It is very difficult, and especially when one is in season of distress, one is in a difficult situation, it is very hard to ascertain whether you are doing the dharma, whether you are following adharma. Okay, he says that in that situation, one should always follow what is prescribed for them by birth. What the actions that belongs to their birth. So he says, Yudhishthira says here, this is not a normal situation. This is a situation where very difficult situation. It is a situation of distress. And at this time, the only thing that one should follow is what is by birth, what is my duty. Okay, so duties in seasons of distress are very different. And those duties, he says that uh, the when one does not have any means to live and one does not have anything give up on all the desires and things like that, that maybe one that person may be able to discharge his duties. And again, people in those seasons of distress, they take actions that is not actually given to them or ordained given to them. For example, a brahmana, by default, he has to learn, study Vedas, conduct sacrifices, do sacrifices, conduct sacrifices, accept gift, dana, and then give dana, right? But if he can't procure himself and things like that, then Brahmana can take the weapons and become a Kshatriya, or he can become a Vaishya's duty. He can do that. Okay, so those are things are given in the Shastra. So Yudhishthira says that when in the season of distress, one can do that. So here Yudhishthira says that you should always regard those people who are virtuous, regard them as virtuous, who follow their own duties according to their varna. Brahmanas follow their duties, and Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, their duties. They are the virtuous ones. And those who do not adhere to these things in season of distress, they that's fine. So they are not going to be censored by the by anybody, because in the season of distress, again he says that as as far as men are concerned, those who bring their mind under control and who always try to acquire the knowledge of atma, self, by practicing what is given to them, what is as per their order, what is there as per their varna, right? Those brahmanas are uh, those are the highest of the men. Okay, so again here Yudhishthira talks about the atma jnana. Okay, so the final, which is brahmanas who can acquire those things. So it is uh, uh, given to them. So that sannyasa ashrama is only for the brahmanas. And he says that those who are not brahmanas, those who cannot wish for this atma jnana, the paramatma's jnana, that knowledge of that self, atma, they should follow what is given to them in their uh, varna, according to their varna, their order. They should follow the duties assigned to their order. So that's what they should do, whether it is distress or not. So in all the situations, that's what should do. So brahmanas should follow their duties to uh, achieve that atma jnana. So they should always aim to acquire that atma jnana, and all the others should do what is given as comes as part of their birth, the duties assigned to their order. So he says that all those that are looking for knowledge and desire of knowledge and avoiding the action and things like that. So that is, again, once you acquire that atma jnana, you don't do any actions, because you are renounced everything and you have done all the renunciation. So you're not attached to any of the actions, and they hold the same positions, and they are the highest people. So whatever wealth that may be on the earth, and whatever in the devata and the devatas and whatever that may be there, even if entire region of Prajapati, so entire world, all the worlds come, Brahma, including Brahma's region himself, if they try to give it to me, I don't want it in an unrighteous manner. So Yudhishthira says that I want, even if I have a small village, I want it as per dharma, as per the dharma I should have obtained that. So he says that all these warriors assembled here, uh, Krishna, he says Krishna, who is very clever, intelligent, politic, he's weighted by even by brahmanas, and he is very mighty. He's celebrated in all the places, and I seek what Krishna says. Okay, so Satyaki, Chedi, Sandakas, Vrishnis, Bojas, everybody assembled here, all this, they listen to what Krishna says. And this Krishna, whatever is very dear to me, and he's very illustrious of all their men, and whatever that Krishna says, I will agree to it. If Krishna says, don't do war, go to take sannyasa and go and live with what Panchalas give or what the other people give, go back to forest, I will do it. But if Krishna says war is the right duty for me, I will do it. So then Krishna says that the Pandavas, I don't differentiate between Pandavas and Kurus. I also want peace, long lasting peace between them. But I find it very difficult to see how peace can be established between these Pandavas and Kauravas when Dhritarashtra's sons are always covetous and they always look to rob Pandavas of their wealth. And he tells Sanjaya that you cannot pretend that you are more learned than Yudhistira is in the dharma and adharma and explaining what is good and bad and things like that. You should not pretend that you know more than Yudhishthira. So Krishna indirectly tells Sanjaya that your place is not to preach Yudhishthira on these things, these matters. And then he says that again, with respect to what we are discussing, Brahmanas have held various opinions on these things. Some says that success in this world depends on actions, that is the karma, and some says that the action can be given up. One can renounce all the actions, and moksha is attained by knowledge. That's jnana. And he also says that Krishna says that the branches of knowledge that help doing the actions, that's the karma, bear fruit, but uh, not other kinds. So again, so one should follow what's there in the scriptures and things like that. By that, one should attain the fruits, and the fruit is actually demonstration that whatever you did is has worked or not worked. Okay, so that result is what one looks for, and when one does one actions. Again, if anyone thinks that there is something else better than action and doing karma, then I see that his work and words are meaningless. So, in other words, the karma yoga is that of the devatas, and that's because of that devatas flourish. It's because of that all the things that happens, whether the sunrise in the morning or wind blowing or the seasons that's coming, the rain falling, or even Indra doing his duties of bringing the rain or earth, sustaining everything. All this happens because all of them are doing their own duties. Indra gives up his pleasures and all the other things agreeable to his heart, and he always cherished virtue and things like that with self-control, impartiality and humanity and all those things. That's why he attained that highest positions as Lord of Devatas. Similarly, he says that the one who Brahaspati, similarly, he gave up his pleasure and he controlled his senses, and that's why he became the guru of Devatas. Similarly, all the nakshatras, by their virtue only, of their actions, their karma, they attained that. Similarly, Rudras, Adityas, Vasus, Yama, Kubera, Gandharvas, Yakshas, Apsaras, all these attained their position purely because of their work. Whatever they did, actions, karma, that's only result of that they attained their positions. Again, following the rishis and everybody, they also again rishis shine in heaven and all the worlds because of their study, austerity, and the actions they have combined. So that's why he says that, tells Sanjaya that for there is nothing better than karma here. That's all in for the kshatriyas. So you should follow your duty that's assigned to you and discharge your duty. And even in that case, death probably is better than what while you're discharging your duty that's given to your order, your varna, death is better than not doing the again. If you approve the peace, again, here what I'm going to tell you, whether it is right for a king to fight a battle or not? I will tell you that. He says that there are four orders, that's classes of men, so varnas, and they have respective duties. Brahmanas should study, offer sacrifices, make charities, go to Tirtha Yatra all over the place, and they teach, they they minister the sacrifices, they do conduct sacrifices, and offer help offered by others worthy of such help, and they accept gifts and things like that. Similarly, Kshatriyas, they study Vedas and they practice virtue, they protect other people, they take a wife, they live a virtuous grahastha life, householders, married life, and they are of should be possessed of virtuous life. Similarly, Vaishyas should study, earn, and accumulate wealth. They do by means of commerce, agriculture, and looking out for cattle and things like that. They should always please Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. And Shudras, for them, their duty is to serve the Brahmanas and submit to them. And they should not study, they should not take part in sacrifices and things like that. So Krishna says that as far as the king is concerned, he should protect all these people, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. He should protect all them with care, and he should make sure that they do their duties. So that's king's duty, and he should not be given to sensual pleasures. He should be impartial. He should treat all his subjects equally, and he should obey the whatever that's said in the dharmas and shastras. He should obey those things, and that's what king should be doing. And he should instruct his subjects to do things like the virtuous things and giving dana and things like that. He should instruct that. A bad king will never understand these kind of things. So he says that then when the war comes, king should order his people to take up weapons and protect his people. So Indra himself invented all these weapons, and so that's why there is no harm in taking these weapons, and religious merit is acquired by putting those robbers and those who are vicious to death. By that, kings attain religious merit. So he says that again, a thief whose Dhritarashtra's sons always forcibly seized all the things that from Pandavas. A thief is the one who steals wealth unseen, and also the one who steals forcefully. Okay, so both are to be condemned. And here Dhritarashtra, Krishna compares Dhritarashtra's son Duryodhana and everybody to thieves and robbers. And that's why it is by punishing them one acquires religious merit. So that's what Krishna says, that Yudhishthira being a king, his duty is to punish those who are thieves and robbers. So Krishna says that Duryodhana forcibly took Draupadi into that assembly, and when she was crying for sympathy and things, except Vidura, nobody said anything. And from sense of duty, Vidura alone spoke in that time. And even you were there at that time, even you did not say anything. Why you were quiet? So he challenges that when Draupadi was repeatedly in that hall, was screaming for help, nobody came to her help. And when she again got all the kingdom back and things like that, still by decide, Karna and everybody, Shakuni and everybody won the wealth and everything back again and sent Pandavas to them. At that time, they were told of all the harshful things, right? So Krishna reminds all the words that said by Karna, Dushasana and everything. And so he says that Karna said all those insulting things to Draupadi, and similarly Dushasana laughed at Pandavas when they were leaving, and Nakula Sahadeva were laughed at when they were leaving for the forest. So Krishna says that I will go to Hastinapura, I will try my best to bring peace, and if the Kauravas do not do anything and they do not accept the peace process, instead they try to attack me or something like that, at that time entire Kurus will be destroyed at the same place. So he says that if they don't if they try to harm me in that process, I will take care of it. And he says that Yudhishthira is a big tree of dharma, Arjuna is his trunk, Bhima is branches, Madri sons are its flowers and fruits, and dharma, I am the roots of it, and that's the religious men all are its root of that tree. Similarly, Duryodhana is a tree which is evil passions. Karna is a trunk, Shakuni and things like the Shakuni, Dushasana, all these Dhritarashtra sons, everybody is the parts of that tree. That tree should be cut and that should be destroyed. So with that, Sanjaya says his mission complete, not successful, but his mission complete. So he's asked Yudhishthira that he will leave to Hastinapura now, and he asks permission. And Yudhishthira gives permission to Sanjaya to leave, and he asks Dhritarashtra to. He sends a message through Sanjaya to inquire about all the people in Hastinapura, the priest of Dhritarashtra, these gurus, the brahmanas there, all the people who carry trade, other officers. He asked about Drona, Ashwatthama, Kripacharya, Bhishma, even Duryodhana, Dushasana, Bhalika, Somadatta. And then he asks about all the friends, counselors of Dhritarashtra. He asks about the sons, grandsons, brothers, and all the other kings that assembled there, Keyakas, Shalvas, Trigartas, and many other kings. And he asked Sanjay to inquire and welfare of all the people who serve Dhritarashtra, whether be it in the army or in the other places, and the welfare of Karna, Vidura, the ladies of the house, the mothers, sisters, sons, everybody. He inquires about everybody and asks Sanjay to inquire on his behalf all those people, and then including the servants and everybody. And he inquires about the people who are defective limb, disabled. He does not ignore anybody. So Yudhishthira, from king to the servants, he inquires everybody, and he says that the again the people he either give back the kingdom or fight with me. So that's the final message. He gives that message saying that them wishing that they will rule the entire Kuru land without any challenge is unreasonable. They should give the kingdom back, Indraprastha back, or fight with me. And again, he says, inquire about Yudhishthira, Bhishma. We should also address Vidura, Duryodhana, and everybody. And he sends them message that they should give, if they don't want to give Indraprastha back, at least they should give 5 villages for 5 of us. Kushasthala, Vikasthala, Makandi, Varanavarta, and any other 5th village. If they give me, I will accept that as well. Instead of Indraprastha, if they give that, I will accept and I will not initiate this war. So Yudhishthira sends this message saying that I want Indraprastha. If they still think that Duryodhana is going to be very unhappy and things like that, it's going to result in a war, I'm happy to take 5 villages. So hearing this, so Sanjaya, he goes to Hastinapura. He goes and asks permission to seek Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra asks him to come. And then he says that what is the message from Pandavas? And Sanjaya says that ahimsa, not doing any injuries, is the rightful thing, and that is the virtuous thing. But Sanjaya says that after looking at Yudhishthira and everything, it is whatever you have done is highly sinful, it is unspeakable, and it will terminate in great misery. So Sanjaya comes back and he says that the destiny is superior and the effects of destiny is beyond what humans can do. And again, looking at you, all the unworthy actions that you have done, highly sinful and highly unspeakable, and it is sure that it will all terminate in misery. And it seems that it is definitely going to happen. And I see Yudhishthira shining with his natural perfection. He is going to shine and he is going to come through this, renouncing all the sin, just like a snake removes its skin. Yudhishthira is going to come through this and shine, and does not have any sin in him, and Yudhishthira is going to shine. Consider all the actions. Sanjay again telling this in front of all his Dhritarashtra's counselors. He is telling to Dhritarashtra in that assembly, saying, uh, all the things that you have done, think about all that. You have earned very bad repute in this world, and you will reap because of that. You will acquire a lot of misery. You will have to face a lot of misery in the next world. And he says that the unrighteous actions that you have done is always everywhere in the world. People speak of those things. The calamity overtakes him, who does not have wisdom and who is of low birth and who is cruel, who cherishes hostility for a long time and who is not steady in Kshatriya virtues, who is devoid of energy, who is bad disposition. And in fact, him who has all such marks, so that person will definitely face difficulties. And by the virtue of luck, that the person takes birth in a good race and becomes strong and famous and versed and things like that, purely because of virtuous luck, and or becomes capable of controlling his senses or discriminating the virtue and things like that. So that person always, they are all linked together. All these things are linked together because of by the virtue. And what person here is there, that's counselors or whoever it is, by differentiate between the virtue and the vice, dharma and adharma in the time of distress, do not think about would commit such a cruel deeds. You have done all those things. Because of that, your counselors who are ever devoted to all these kind of things, with them, they, because of Pandavas, you will get destroyed. Entire destruction of the Kurus, it is very certain because of that. All the sinful acts that you have committed, it will happen. And Sanjaya then says that if provoked by these offenses, Yudhishthira wishes misery for you. And Kurus will definitely will be destroyed by that if you try to do any harm to Yudhishthira. And by Arjuna, this entire race will be extinguished, and all the army will be extinguished. This proves again. So even Arjuna, even though he is a human being, he went to heaven. So this shows that there is something beyond what in our control. Whatever we can control it's beyond us. So there is definitely beyond us, whatever our control. Even if we try something, you probably will not going to happen. Similarly, he gives an example of Bali previously having everything in his control, right? Having high birth, bravery, everything, all the words in his prosperity, everything stability in his control. Still, he looked and he failed to achieve the ultimate thing that's actually controls. And then finally he realized that it is the eternal essence, that is the Paramatma, who is the cause of everything. And the eyes, ears, nose, touch, all the sensual organs, these are the doors to the knowledge. And that knowledge, one realizes that Paramatma ultimately, that Atma, what Yudhishthira was mentioning earlier, I said about, and once one realizes that Paramatma, that's when one attains the happiness and bliss, the ultimate bliss, highest bliss. So he says that one should take control of, that's why one should take control of these senses and focus on Paramatma. So he says that if person acts in such a way that then it produces the good results. Such a persons are always praised, and the dissensions, the quarrel between the Bharatas is purely because of you and because of I blame you for all this quarrel between Kauravas and Pandavas. And if peace is not concluded, at your fault, Arjuna will destroy every Kuru warriors, and he will destroy every Kuru warrior, and you will be at fault, and you will alone in this world, even giving up your son. Uh, you will have to stay here and you will have to witness all those things. So he says he wants Dhritarashtra that uh, uh, he says, Sanjaya then says that I am very tired of journey coming from Uplavya to here. So I want to go and take rest. I will come to the assembly tomorrow and narrate you all the words that Yudhishthira has told. I will tell you all those words tomorrow in the assembly. I am very tired now. So Sanjaya comes to Hastinapura. He goes to see Dhritarashtra, and then he says whatever in his mind after that long journey, thinking about all the things that Yudhishthira and Krishna said, and all the other warriors assembled in that Upapalva said. He comes here and scolds Dhritarashtra for all the things that he has done. And then he says, I'm going to tell you all about what Yudhishthira said. I'll tell you tomorrow. I'm very tired. I'm going back to bed. I'm going to bed. Okay. So Sanjaya says this. What it shows here is Sanjaya himself, whatever he told Yudhishthira in Upaplavya, that you should follow peace, you should not do war and everything, are not his words. His words, he was just a messenger. He was doing his duty, telling Yudhishthira that this is what you should do. That's what Dhritarashtra asked him to tell. And he was telling that he was following his duty. But then coming back to Hastinapura, what Sanjaya does here is speaks what's in his mind, because he's not telling what Yudhishthira said. He said, I will tell you those things tomorrow in the assembly because I'm very tired to speak of those things now. But he still wanted to vent out his frustration, his anger, and what he thinks about Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, and everybody. He wanted to say those things. Otherwise, he would not get sleep when he goes to his home. He could have gone to his home directly and then come back tomorrow morning and told everything. But he will not get sleep because he's always thinking about why my king is like this, right? So he comes here and says all those things and then says, I'm going to tell you all the discussions that happened in Upalvi. I will tell you tomorrow. This is a very, very nice situation here. This shows how a king and his servant, right? So Sanjay is effectively a charioteer. And he's coming here and telling when Dhritarashtra is with all his counselors and everything, he's going and scolding his king, saying that you doing all these things wrong. And I blame you for all this mess that's there. It's your fault. And he did not even ask Dhritarashtra permission here, saying that, is it okay if I come and tell you tomorrow? He says that I'm going to tell you tomorrow. I'm very tired of all these things, right? So that also shows that relationship that Sanjaya has, and the how much in those days the king, even if Dhritarashtra, even though he's king, he respects his people, right? So the honest feedback that people give, the advisors that come and give that advice, how much is respected. And these days it's very difficult to see. I mean, I know we don't deal with kings, but even in when we look at Mahabharata and these kings and servants and things like that, think these days how it might work in offices and things like that. Okay, the kings may be a manager or a boss or whoever it is, right? So if we go and tell a manager these days that you are wrong and things like that, they will shoot you down. Okay, they will not take those as advice that you are giving to them. So it's dynamics is so different, because even though Dhritarashtra is evil character, he's very fond of his son. He still respects the advice he's getting from Vidura or Sanjaya or whoever it is, right? He respects them, and that's why he listens to those things, and he still respects them. He still wants to listen to them. So we will see what Sanjay says tomorrow when he wakes up next day, what he says, and what happens to Yudhishthira, what happens to Dhritarashtra, what he does, what Dhritarashtra does, and things like that. We'll see that next time.